did.
Okay.
June 4th.
Okay. And are we all unmuted up there, or?
For who
All
needs to be
just, they
unmuted.
got muted on there.
Yep.
Okay, very good. All right, it is June 4th, 9 o'clock. We'll call this special meeting of the Marion County Board of Supervisors to order. Jake, roll call.
Keisha Johnner,
Here.
Mark Ramey,
Here.
Steve McCombs.
Here.
Very good. Our rolling agenda for these meetings has been impacts of the COVID-19 crisis on county operations. Is there a motion to approve said agenda?
Make motion we approve today's agenda.
Second.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
Very good. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll give a kind of an update on where we're at as far as our own reopening, the appointment system, where we proceed from here. I think we need to think about, are we going to have these meetings, how long they're going to continue? Are we going to go through the month of June? Are we going to go for another week? Where are we at in that process? So, Steve, Keisha, any initial thoughts on kind of where we're at with the limited reopening of courthouse?
Well, I have not heard any major concerns. I know there was a little bit of on the appointment thing. They tweaked the system a little bit for the treasurer's office, I believe, to make that work better. But other than that, I think it's been going fine.
How is the system working from those of you who are on the call?
Well, so as of Monday morning, we had imported about 150 appointments from Michaela that had already been set up on the previous system. And as of today, we've got about 700 appointments already in the system. So the first day we got 300 or 400 appointments in, and it's been a little more gradual since then. So we've been adding offices as we can. We've got the majority of the courthouse offices online already, as well as the sheriff's office with weapons permits. So that's going very well. We hope to have the auditor's office done today, and then we'll start working with public health to get their office up and running. So I know the treasurer's office has been using it quite a bit. So they've had some tweaks and things that we've needed to do to the system to make it work better, but we've been able to accomplish most of those tweaks. So,
yeah, I agree with everything that Andrew has said. There have been a few enhancements that we've requested. So far, the developers have been very good at working with us, making those things happen, or at least kind of putting them on the agenda to work on. So far, the appointment system has worked better for motor vehicles than I anticipated it would. You know, again, there are still some workflow issues to work out on the motor vehicle side because, you know, that's just such a different animal than the driver's license. But I think it's doing what it was intended to do. We're keeping crowds to a minimum. There aren't people waiting in the hall. Folks are able to come in, walk in, be waited on, walk out. So far, I'm really happy with it, and I'm very optimistic about what the future is for that system for my office.
Good. Very good.
Yeah.
Have there been any issues? We've unlocked the doors to our temporary location, correct?
Yes, and
Okay.
we've had some walk-ins. We expected that. We've been able to deal with that, either, you know, make them an appointment, or if they're coming in for their registration renewal, able to get them to just leave that with us, and we'll, you know, process that. The clerk that's working on mail that day is able to then, you know, process that and, you know, get it pushed out with the rest of the workflow, which is helpful.
and I know Karen's not here today, but she she is also using the system as well, her office is, and it's going very well for her office as well. I think they had some apprehension at first too, but it's going great. Her staff is liking the system too, and it's just working great, keeping the crowds to a minimum.
Good.
Overall customer satisfaction, have you heard much in that area?
I think so. Driver's license has been, continued to be overwhelmingly pleased with the system. Of course, we have so much catch up to do over there. We have discussed adding, we're to the point where, we will begin to add some more driver's license appointments. And I'll be opening up Pella the first Wednesday in July 8th. So, kind of pounding out a plan to get back open over there, and how that will look. But for motor vehicles, I think there has been a little bit more dissatisfaction, which I expected because we are completely overhauling the way the treasurer's office has always done business. But the folks that have been able to get an appointment, get in, not wait in line, get their paperwork processed, and get back out the door are really happy with it.
Okay.
Good. Good. Yeah, there'll be some growing pains with this, Michaela, but we want to stick at it. I think that's, you guys are doing a good job coming up with a process. Keep working at it. It's good. Who else is using it right now other than Karen?
So the treasurer's office, the recorder's office, the sheriff's office, the auditor's office will be coming online this week. Zoning has it, and the assessor has it set up as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Good.
Does
Excellent.
anybody else think that they want to come on?
Yeah, Kim and I are going to be meeting with her staff this week to see what it can look like for their operations, public health. We've had requests from, I know Ed's office is looking at doing it for their Wednesday morning crowd.
Great.
So we're going to be working on that too. And possibly, I don't know if Tiffany's on or not, but mental health reached out as well. So I haven't had a conversation with her yet, but that might be a possibility there too.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that.
Excellent. Excellent. Good. Well, I look forward to continued status updates on that and how that's proceeding from here on out. I think that's if there's a silver lining to COVID, this could be one of those silver linings just from a process workflow standpoint. Could be a good thing for us and for the public. So.
I totally agree with that, Mark. Like I said before, this is the first time in the history of the treasurer's office we've had a tool to manage our workflow. We still have the same volume of work, but to be able to schedule that work and provide some structure to it is just an amazing tool.
Michaela, and I guess I'll throw this out to any of the managers, one of the issues we've faced over the years, I think because of the kind of the ad hoc nature of how we do business, is people haven't been able to take their vacations. Or at least it's been difficult to schedule vacations. Is this going to improve that, Michaela?
Absolutely. Particularly for my driver's license station. If I have somebody, right now, driver's license, we are backed up at least a month out and building all the time. At some point, whether that takes a year, whatever it takes, I anticipate we'll be caught up. But if I have somebody that is taking vacation for a week, I can shut those appointments down to half. I can have 2 people off at a time without stressing out the entire rest of the office to the extent where people don't get lunches or they're staying late trying to get balanced. We've never had that before.
That's great.
Same with tax season. My driver's license girls help with taxes. So, that day that taxes hit the mailboxes, we can cut down those driver's license appointments so that I can dedicate a staff member to answer the tax phone. Folks are getting the service that they need.
That's excellent, Michaela. Very good. Very good. That's a good innovation for us.
I agree.
Good. Any other comments on the reopening at East? Anything else we need to be aware of right now? How are we doing on bringing back staff?
All staff that was working at home should be working,
Okay.
except for furloughs.
Okay, yeah, furloughs are still
Right.
in place, but all other staff should be back in the
It's
office.
my understanding that all staff is back
Okay.
that was working from home.
Okay, any issues on spacing and all those things that we have to take into consideration now?
I've not heard of any.
Any issues, folks at East?
I'm sorry. Not for us. The scheduling system has really taken care of a lot of that.
Okay,
I think once the court back up, we'll be in a little different position, but I'm not even gonna try to anticipate what they're going to require us to do until we get some guidance from them.
how long are we out on that, Ed?
I'm sorry, say again?
How long are we out till we get guidance? Any ideas?
Well, we got told that starting on Monday, non-trials could take place in our courthouses if we satisfy the requirements of court administration on cleaning and so COVID policies. As of today's date, they haven't told us what their policies are.
Okay,
They've told us that they may not tell us what their policies are until as late as June 10th. So at this point, I've stopped trying to, and I'll say this respectfully to my friends and the judicial friends, we're not operating anymore under their guidelines. We're just simply doing what it takes for us to meet the needs of our consumers. And I have a judge who's very cooperative and working who we ask for. If people show up, we take care of them. We don't send them away. But at some point in the next, I'm hopeful, 2 weeks, we will start to be more organized from how we're going to move forward. Trials aren't going to take place till July or August at the very earliest. And we have been working, Pete and I have been working with our insurance companies trying to figure out our alternative locations if it comes to that. I hope it doesn't, but that's where we're at. But to answer your question, Mark, I truly have no idea when the court system is going to give us the guidance we need to know how to reopen the way they want us to reopen.
okay,
They're just, one day, they send inconsistent emails that are inconsistent in the body of the email. They send multiple emails a day that are inconsistent with each other. Sometimes it's just difficult.
sure.
Hey, Ed?
Sure.
Would it be a fair assumption, I think we've touched on this before, but would it be a fair assumption to assume that the COVID stipulations are gonna be a problem whether we're at East Elementary or even back into the courthouse?
I have been saying that, Stephen. If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said yes. I don't know that I am of the same agreement just simply because we have a third courtroom at the courthouse, one that we've never used before, but I envision us potentially using that when it comes time. There's no question, we're gonna have to change the way, for example, we do jury selection. We cannot bring in 150 people at 8:30 in the morning on day one of the trial anymore. It's gonna have to be staggered. Jury selection is going to take 2, 3, 4 times as much time as it did before, because we're only gonna bring in 15 or 20 people at a time. But it wouldn't surprise me if we keep, 15 people in the blue courtroom on the third floor, and then 15 people in the main courtroom, switch those people out, assuming we have the cleaning the way they want it done. And then just do morning and afternoon. And then once we get a jury sat, it appears almost all the guidance that's being given is indicating that the jury stays where they are. So they don't go back and forth to a jury room that creates another space. We leave. When it's break time, the jury stays in the courtroom, and the attorneys and the participants get up and leave. So we'll see. I'm hopeful by the time we go back to this in December, we'll have survived a second wave of COVID without any shutdown of our economy the second time, and we are moving ahead.
Okay, so it's a fair assumption that it's our belief we'll have a little bit more flexibility at the regular courthouse.
I think so, especially in light of the fact that, this is all hearsay and rumor, that perhaps you folks aren't coming back to the courthouse. So we will have another larger gathering room on the first floor of the courthouse. So if we had trials in session, a jury trial going, we have to bring a jury in, we have 3 distinct locations that juror members could report to and be spread out. And I think that puts us, unless we're a big courthouse that has, 8 to 10 courtrooms, we're in a better situation than most more similarly situated communities.
Okay, I think once the elevator is complete, and we can see what that footprint looks like in the courthouse, we'll probably all have to sit down and talk about this, the space usage. So we can all use that equitably and efficiently.
I agree, and I'm hopeful that they're providing, that the judicial branch will be providing us some guidance in that if the courtroom or the room is X number of square feet, this is how many members of the public you can have in it.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Anything, Steve, how are parks doing?
Good. I was going to mention that we opened up our reservation systems there back in May 13th. And from May 13th till the 31st of May, we took in between $50,000 and $60,000 worth of online reservations and first come, first served walk up camping. So that was pretty astounding. It's an 18-day total of between 50 and 60,000.
Wow.
And then the only restrictions that we have right now is like on the pavilion, we're at 50% occupancy, so you can only have up to 200 people in the pavilion at one time. But we've got about 30 reservations, and about 26 of those now are weddings. So we're contacting those people, and if they have to adjust their attendance, then that's what they're going to have to do. But we're leaving that at 50% the rest of the year unless it changes. Then the other thing we're advocating is 10 people or less at our smaller shelters, the playgrounds, and the observation tower. And most people are complying with that. Same thing with the Little League ball fields up at the county park. The Little League season is canceled, but we've been getting requests from like AAU groups that want to go up and practice, and that's fine because it's open to the public. We just tell them they have to do the social distancing, and most of those people have already got that set up where they're not going to have more than like 9 people at a time up there. So I think people are trying pretty well. There's still a few that maybe not so much, but in general, we're doing real well. Every weekend since we've opened has been like a holiday weekend. Happy Memorial Day, but every weekend people are just, we're full. We don't have any campsites left. We don't have any cabins left, which is a good thing, but it's awfully busy.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, is there, do you have still sites that people can pay when they get there? Or is it
Yep,
everything
those are
online?
Yep, those are our first come, first served sites. So each park has some of those.
Okay. Well, what I was listening this morning on the way in, I was talking about Rathbun, and they were saying that everything is online now. So they don't have
Yep.
any sites that they can you have to have a smartphone. You have to schedule. Is there anything that, are we handling much cash?
Yeah, we took in about, this last weekend was about $20,000 in cash. So, yeah, we're handling a lot of cash. We've got a protocol for that, though.
Okay.
Where we use gloves. We put those envelopes in a plastic bag until we can get them back to the shop. And we let them set for a while before we open those up. And we have to have masks on. But we're handling a lot of cash. Now, the Corps of Engineers, I just talked to them yesterday. They aren't handling cash at all.
Right.
Everything for them is an online reservation.
Yes.
And all of their sites are online. They don't take any walk-ups anymore. So that's the same thing you're talking about, Keisha, for Rathbun.
Yeah.
They're getting away from this handling cash, and they're going to all online reservations. So if they come up to a campsite, they can talk to the host, but they'll take them in their office and do an online reservation for them.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's an extreme case if they take any cash, they're getting away from that.
That's something we want to move to, Steve, for all of our sites?
I think we want to think about that, Mark, very seriously. I know we still have a lot of people that don't want to do online reservations, and normally it's our older clientele. That they just like to be able to come in whenever they want to and get a campsite. And that, with the people that want to have a reservation because they don't want to come from out of state and take the chance of not getting a site. But we take in a lot of cash.
Wouldn't it be I mean, I'm just thinking as a merchant here, at wherever we take the cash, we put in some type of Apple Pay.
Well, the older people just don't have the.
The problem we run into there, Mark, is we have to have internet connection.
Mm-hmm.
And not like at Roberts Creek, it'd be very hard to get an internet connection on the east and west side of Roberts Creek. Of course, we do have a pretty good IT department. Maybe they could come up with something for us.
You can get those handheld machines.
Well, yeah, but just something to think about, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are two reasons. You and I have talked about it, and you know the issues from both a financial control standpoint and from a health and safety standpoint. We just need to handle less cash. It's just,
Yeah.
and we want you guys to have maximum safeties in place in our new world. So let's just talk. Think about it. Think about what would work for your group.
In kind of addressing what Lisa said there, our problem there is, yeah, you can get a handheld, but you got to be able, when these people show up at all times of the day and night, you got to be there to do an Apple Pay.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
We just don't have that kind of staff.
Yeah.
No, I get it. No, I appreciate the update. Anything else, Steve?
No, I think things are going well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for getting everything back online. Carla, anything from a business standpoint we need to be aware of?
A lot of what we've been hearing from manufacturing is many of our manufacturing companies are still keeping their office staff home until the end of August, some of them. So not all of the office staff are coming back, even though most of them have tried to keep up production. We just concluded the business survey for statewide last Friday, so they said we should have results of that next week, and we've requested a county report to that as well. I know we had upwards of 130 businesses and organizations that did complete the survey. We're in the process of reopening our business retention calls right now. Most of the customer-facing businesses, the restaurants, the retail, have found ways to be back open with different rules depending on which place you're going to as far as how much they require, whether masks are required, whether sanitation of your hands are required before you enter, and different things of that nature. Most of them have been finding ways to get people back into their businesses. Things seem to be going well from all we've heard as far as the customer-facing businesses and people understanding some of the changes that have to occur. So I think it's going as well as expected, and businesses getting back in business, which is good to hear.
Are we keeping in contact with the local chamber folks? Just to make sure. I mean, there's going to be
once a week. We decided last week that we would get together every other week, so we don't have a meeting tomorrow, but we will be having one next week. So we continue to gather and share ideas and best practices and talk over issues and try to find solutions together. So we have been getting together. In addition, we're working, all of us, on another event that's going to happen in November, hopefully, for entrepreneurs. So we've been kind of talking when we're planning that event as well.
Okay, good. Appreciate that. Kind of keep us in the loop if you hear of anything, especially if people start struggling.
Yeah, one of the things that we're working on the industrial side that we're starting to hear a little bit is supply chain issues. And so we're trying to work through that with some of our partners at Cirrus and Iowa State University. And we'll continue to monitor that. If you look at my business update, one of the issues of concern right now is the unemployment filings each week. I keep a tab on that, and the percentage of our unemployment filings that come from the manufacturing sector has continued to rise. So that's of somewhat concern. Last week it was at 78% of our filings were from the manufacturing sector for last week, and manufacturing makes up about 40% of our jobs. So almost double what's happening with filing. So we're going to keep a good tab on that because those prime industries are really extremely important. And as we see the customer facing businesses open, you see less and less people from those types of companies filing for unemployment, but we are seeing a good number of the people, and we're hoping for that number to go down. Our number hasn't gone down yet. Our unemployment filings continue to kind of keep rising slowly, so we're hoping that those numbers will go down, as well as the overall number of people who are on unemployment. So those are two factors that we're tracking right now. Other issues we're tracking that seem to be interesting is the new orders index for industry that kind of has told us that manufacturing was slightly down before this all hit, and so we keep a track of that new orders index and manufacturing hours as an indicator of what's really happening there as well. On the positive side, Missy could probably tell you, building permits through all this seem to be going very strong still. So building and construction has continued to be extremely strong through all of this, and it has been doing well. So just depends on which segment of the economy you're in.
Very good. Thank you, Carla, for that update.
Mark, I can say I just looked at building permits, and right now we're at 70 building permits, and almost 25 of those are homes. My office, I feel like I'm in a snowball fight. It's just coming from every direction, keeping incredibly busy. Of course, I emailed you guys about the change that we just got down June 1 that has really thrown a wrench in operations for my boards. Working on complaints. Bridget and I have a couple complaints that we're trying to wrap up or hand off to the county attorney. So yeah, it stayed incredibly busy. We have at 70 building permits, that's almost more than we did in a whole year a few years ago. So.
Good, I appreciate that update, Missy, thank you. Let's hope the economy comes back online quickly. All right, Jake, anything from your standpoint? I know you just got through the primaries, bud, good job.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are on the day after, which would be like day 2. So today's the wall day where adrenaline is kind of completely all come off and we hit the wall. So today's that day for us. But yeah, I appreciate everybody's help during the primary. As far as I know, it went as good as could be expected. Never is an election perfect, but with all this different scenarios and possibilities and all the things going on in our area, I think it went pretty good, and turnout was higher at the polls than we expected. We had over 5,000 absentees out in the mail, and we still had 1,500 people go to the polls and vote. But I think the processes worked there. The shields were a huge help, those barriers we bought, and now those have been distributed. A lot of them already are back in place here at East, and people are using them, so they're getting repurposed, which is good. From the election standpoint, as far as I know, it went as good as could be expected, and now we have all the back end stuff. So, and people coming into the building, we didn't have a whole lot of that here, so that helps a lot too from the whole crowds control thing. So we're glad it's over. We're not thinking about November yet, but that's right around the corner.
Okay, I won't ask you about November then.
Nah, don't please. They don't know. There's lots of discussions going on, and about mailings and processes and states. So it's kind of like what Ed just said. At this point, I don't think we're gonna think too much for a few days anyway about what we need to do, and see how things happen in the next short term here.
Okay, very good. Appreciate it, Jake. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I ask just one procedural question just here, and it's not a big thing, but now that we have public in and out of the building more and stuff, do you guys still want us to do the logs at the doors, or should we keep doing those, or can those be stopped? How do you guys feel about that?
So, yeah, great question. Keisha asked me this question yesterday. As far as public access goes to the hallways, general access, Jake, I would
Yep.
say discontinue the logs. But anybody coming into your specific offices, we have for those of you using the appointment system, we have a record of that, right? Doesn't it retain that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I believe.
Andrew,
so.
does it retain that?
From that by some-
Yes, it retains all the customers making.
Okay, so we have that as our record, for those of you using the appointment system. If you are not using the appointment system and someone's coming into your office specifically, then I would definitely keep a log for the duration until we get especially till we get past fall. All right,
Okay.
we're gonna continue to have our log out here at 3014. We're not as highly trafficked as your areas are, but it's still gonna be good from that standpoint. But as far as general public coming in and out, no. Make it specific now for your offices.
All right,
Okay.
we'll do.
I have a question, a policy question as well. What is our policy currently about meetings, both meetings with people outside of our offices and in the county or outside of our offices in other locations?
Yeah, so we'd had a restriction on that, Carla. I think we're ready to lift that restriction. I think it's time to get back to more business as usual, or as before. So I think we'll probably take a motion on that, to lift those travel restrictions, for business purposes.
Mark,
Yep,
with that being said, so I have a Board of Adjustment meeting coming up in June. Do you want me to still do that virtual, or do we go back to in-house?
the meeting, as far as the conduct of the meeting, I will leave that up to you folks and your board members.
Yeah.
And we want to be considerate of the fact that many people, even though we are opening up, are still going to feel more comfortable with us. So you have to have a Zoom option.
Yes.
I guess
Okay.
I'll say it that way. You can have people attend as long as you don't exceed whatever our current volume requirement is for people. I don't even remember what the number is right now.
Still 10 is my understanding.
But but have the Zoom option available for folks. So I think that's going to be our new normal for boards.
We just had that conversation at the landfill the other day, and they asked the question of the board members, are you comfortable meeting in person? And of course, and we all agreed we are. So we're gonna, as a landfill board, we're gonna meet, our next meeting will be in person.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, we'll leave it up to those boards and the department heads, let them make their decisions on how they wanna handle their meetings.
Well, I know for the mental health board, for Tiffany and I, and Rachel is not on.
Still
the
10 in a
call.
room.
What's that?
Still 10 in a room.
Still 10 in the room? Okay, thank you, Kim. But I know we'll continue to do Zoom. We're too spread out, it's too many counties. I've had comments from other supervisors that it saves them a ton of time. There's no reimbursement necessary for the taxpayer. So unless we've got to be face to face, we're gonna do that, for our mental health region. It's just more efficient.
I agree.
So take that under advisement, Missy. Do it. Give yourself a Zoom option. But if people want to meet face to face, go ahead. Yeah.
I want to clarify, Kim posted 10 in a room. I just want to clarify, if she'd be so kind. My understanding is 10 in a room, or the number, dealt with social gatherings. It never dealt with our ability to conduct court, or, for example, Jake doing elections, or Jake doing trainings for his election. So I just want to be clear that we are sending the correct information. And if Kim, I would please point me to where it's talking about 10 in a room for business.
That's good. That's good catch, Ed. Kim, do you have a comment or clarification on that?
You know what, I was just looking at the last, mass gathering that was until May 31st, and the 10 is in, it was lifted on May 31st. And
I thought they had to do that for Jake to be able to do his election and his trainings as well.
The election side of it.
it's been lifted.
Okay.
Just as a point, the election thing, the governor specifically put those two things for polling sites and trainings, like specifically was outside of any of the other regulations. So I don't know that those two to any other groups.
Yeah, I thought I
are-
thought those were an exception that was
Yeah.
that waived from normal guidance.
It was for the primary election
Yeah,
at that point. That's correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's continue to research that and stay on top of that one from a business standpoint. But right now, stick to the 10 in a room. Unless you gotta exceed that number, then we'll talk about it.
So then you're going to you'll make a motion then to allow business travel?
Yep.
For meetings?
We'll have, yeah.
You'll do, okay.
Yep. Okay. Anything else we need to cover before we do that motion?
Yeah, I've got, since all the employees are back, I'll ask Lisa, how are we doing on performance evaluation?
Well, from those departments that have turned them in, I only have 3 departments that have turned them in, and then the ones that the Board of Supervisors have done.
Okay.
So, not well. They may be done. If they're done and I don't have them, I would encourage those departments to get those to me.
Yes.
Okay. So it has been a unique situation, but please get your performance evaluations done and into Lisa.
Yep.
I can name them if you want me to name them.
No.
No, okay.
They know who they are.
Yep.
And if they're doing a wage increase, that was supposed to be done, was that supposed to be into you at a certain time?
Yes, I am still waiting on payroll change forms from the recorder, the county attorney, EMA, and Conservation's not having their board meeting till June 16th, so I've already talked to Steve about that, so, but I do need those. I'd like to have them by tomorrow, if I could, because, I've gotta go through them, and then I need to get them to Danny, so she can get those all entered too, because it's a time crunch this year, end of year fiscal, and first pay is early, so she's got a lot on her plate, so.
Everybody get that? Okay. Very good. Anything else right now?
Other than are we having a meeting next Thursday?
Yeah, so let me ask the group on the board here. Are these helpful, beneficial? Want to continue to have them? I don't want to waste people's time. Do you like having these little updates? If you do, we can make them more regular part of our meeting agenda, maybe not once a week, maybe once every other week. Something like
The
that,
opposite weeks of our
board
board
meetings.
Well, that'd be good. That would be good.
Yeah, just a chance for leadership to catch up, for department heads to catch up. So, this is your chance, chime in.
Yeah, does a Tuesday or a Thursday work better? Yeah, if that's,
I
Is that
like
what-
Thursdays.
I would just ask, perhaps do it on the off week, when you don't do your board
That-
meeting, and just do it Tuesday at 9 o'clock at the same time, so it's consistent.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Anybody opposed to doing that?
Tuesdays would be better for me, because a lot of my meetings are on Thursday, like the
Yeah.
third and everything.
I'm not hearing anything.
Okay.
So we will make this a regular part of our meeting agenda, 9 o'clock on the off Tuesdays of our supervisor meetings.
correct.
Very good. Probably have to make a motion on that, don't we, Ed?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Or, quite honestly, you just need to set an agenda for that meeting. I mean, there's nothing that says you need to have a set schedule of it. You can form it as a special meeting whenever you want. You can do it either way, however you want to do it.
All right. Anything else before we make our couple of motions here? Our motion for travel? Nothing? Okay. So we'll entertain a motion to lift business travel restrictions for Marion County employees.
So moved.
Second?
Jake?
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye?
Ramey,
Aye. Very good. Establishing I'll call it a courthouse update meeting on 9 o'clock on the off Tuesdays of the month. not concurrent with our regular Board of Supervisor meetings.
Correct, yes. Till further notice?
Yeah, until we change it. I'm not gonna
Okay.
put an end date on
Okay.
it.
Alright.
I don't know when it would end.
So moved.
Second.
McCombs, you're first.
Are you for it?
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Very good. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you for your time and your updates. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
I don't know if Scott was Scott Carr because Kelly
I
wasn't
thought
on
we
there.
were going into closed session.
It did say closed.